Hey footy fans, time for a bit more footy fun with FootyFin. And listen, this is it, the 1st of October, the big dance day, the NRL Grand Final, also NRLW and Interstate Cup. But listen, so much to digest here. Previewing the big dance between the Penrith Panthers, the old experienced heads, and the new kids on the block, the Brisbane Broncos, who just a couple of seasons ago were wooden spooners. So listen, first of all, sadly, AFL Grand Final yesterday, sadly the Lions lost by a narrow 4 points, less than 1 goal. Devastating for the young Lions. But anyway, hopefully Brisbane Broncos can fly the Brisbane flag today or tonight. So as I say, I've got a few notes here to work through, a few interesting takes on the game, ending in a tip. Let me just put this out there. A child born in 2006, the year the Broncos last won the NRL Grand Final, that child is almost finishing high school now. So Broncos fans would say it's definitely time. And in case you haven't guessed it, yes, I'm barracking for the Broncos tonight, clearly. Okay, even got a Denver Broncos shirt on. Just to add to that. So a few interesting facts about tonight. Both teams have a father-son combination, father as head coach, son. We got the Clearys with the Panthers and the Walters with the Broncos. Some interesting sort of matchups and personal rivalries here. Of course, we got Jerome Luai, and he's got that shoulder injury. He's up against Reece Walsh. The two famously clashed at the end of Origin 2. Luai had a bit of sour grapes for losing the series and got sent off. So bit of rivalry there. Adam Reynolds was with the Rabbitohs when they narrowly lost by 2 points, the GF, to the Panthers at Lang Park in 2021. So he'll be out to gain some revenge over the Panthers. We've got Kurt Capewell up against his old team, the Panthers, who he won the GF with in 2021. And he's apparently very good mates with a number of them, including Liam Martin. This is also really Queensland versus New South Wales. It's the first time there's a Queensland team up against a New South Wales team since possibly 2000, I think. I'll have to check that, but it's a long time. Of course, we've got a host of Queensland Origin players in both clubs. In fact, I'm going to go into that now in terms of, so many of the Panthers have experience in grand finals, and in the past 3 grand finals, only 2 of the Broncos have any grand final experience, and I've just mentioned that was Reynolds and Capewell. Interestingly, just to do a tally here, the Penrith Panthers have 6 New South Wales Origin representatives, no Queenslanders. They've also got a few internationals, New Zealand with James Fisher-Harris, Samoa with a couple of the fellas, I think Leota and/or Leniao, if not both, possibly Tungor in the broader squad, and also Taruva with Fiji. On the flip side, the Broncos, they've got 5 Queensland Origin players, and then they got Corey Oates, 18th man. They've actually got 3 current or former New South Wales players, and they've got a couple of internationals, Herbie Farnworth from English International and Jordan Ricky, New Zealand. So actually looking at that, the Broncos have more with Origin experience, but will that count for anything? Who knows? We've also got some players playing their final games with the club. So for the Panthers, Crichton moves on to the Dogs next year, and Leniao moves on to the Roosters. With the Broncos, both Flegler and Farnworth are moving on to the Dolphins next year, so they'll want to finish on a high. Look, the Parramatta Eels in round 26 provided a blueprint for how to beat the Panthers, and that's just basically unstructured backyard footy. And that may well suit the likes of Reece Walsh and Curtis Mam, etc. Ezra Mam, sorry. we'll wait and see. It's really hard to predict here. Some pundits have said that really in the middles is where it can be won and lost. So the battle of the middles will be quite fascinating there. And I think, look, for the Broncos, the big question is, can they translate the form from recent weeks and from most of this season onto the big stage? Will the Panthers, you'd have to bank on their grand finals experience over the past 3 years, but possibly the added psychological pressure of being the first team in 40 years to get a three-peat might come into play. Who knows? Also, Queensland do have some relatively young fellas. I mean, the likes of Ezra Mann and Reece Walsh are pretty young. Hopefully they won't be overawed by the big stage. Ezra, of course, hasn't played Origin footy, but he's a great young player and hopefully it won't faze him. Billy Walters and the Broncos bench are relatively inexperienced in terms of finals game, but mind you, the Panthers bench is mostly inexperienced except Len Yao. So it's really fascinating. How's it all going to stack up? I just don't know. Will Luai's shoulder stand up? Will the Broncos target that? You'd have to think that yes, they would. They've basically admitted they will. How will the Broncos go on the big stage? How will Reece Walsh go? Will he produce a moment of magic? Can the Penrith defence contain the likes of that? It's really fascinating. Look, it's really freaking hard to pick. I'm very excited. Let me just quickly say the Interstate Cup, go to Brisbane Tigers up against the Rabbitohs. NRL Grand Final, go the Titans up against the Newcastle Knights. So, who's going to win this one? Look, this is maybe hard overhead, I don't know, but I'm saying the Broncos by 2 or 3 points. There you go, you heard it here first. But look, it's going to be fascinating. I wouldn't say I'm overly confident, but can the Broncos do it? Of course they can. So, let's wait and see. Can't wait for the big dance. Enjoy your grand final footy. Like, bring it on. Fingers crossed. Bit nervous. The butterflies are starting, but get into it. And until next time, catch you between the sticks. See ya.